All right, if you're even thinking about buying or owning a home in Florida, you're going to want to listen up. The financial rulebook is being completely rewritten for 2026. So over the next few minutes, we're going to untangle everything, from mortgage rates to brand new state and federal laws that are going to directly impact your wallet.
But let's kick things off with a little bit of optimism, shall we? After 4 straight years of a declining housing market, experts are finally seeing what they call auspicious conditions on the horizon. Basically, they're predicting a major turnaround, and that could mean new opportunities for buyers all across the state. So, how are we going to make sense of all this? Well, we're going to take what I like to call a zoom-in, zoom-out approach. We'll start super personal with the home buyer. Then we'll pull back to see what's happening with condo owners. Then we'll zoom out again to the big debates in Tallahassee and even Washington, before bringing it all home with your financial snapshot for 2026.
Okay, let's start with you. Whether you're a first-time buyer or maybe you're just looking to make a move, the forecast for 2026 actually holds some genuinely good news. So what's the biggest driver here? It really comes down to affordability. Economists are projecting that the 30-year fixed mortgage rate will drop to around 5.8% by the end of 2026. Now, that drop is expected to fuel a 5% rebound in home sales. For you, the buyer, this is simple, right? Lower rates mean more buying power and, hopefully, a lower monthly payment.
And it's not just market forces helping out. The state itself is offering a pretty significant leg up. It's called the Hometown Heroes program, and it is designed specifically to help Florida workers get into their first home by tackling the biggest hurdle of all, that dreaded down payment.
So here's the deal. The program offers an interest-free loan. Yep, you heard that right. Interest-free, of up to $35,000 for your down payment and closing costs. Now, to get it, you've got to check 4 boxes. You have to be a first-time homebuyer, work for an employer based here in Florida, meet some specific income and credit score rules, and finally, complete a home buyer education course.
What's really smart about this program is how it adapts to Florida's pretty diverse economy. The income limit isn't just one number for the whole state. No, it's tailored to the local cost of living. So you can see it's almost $186,000 in a pricey area like Miami-Dade, but closer to $156,000 in the Tampa area. Makes sense, right?
But getting the keys, that's just the beginning. For a huge number of Floridians, the whole reality of owning a condo has been completely fundamentally transformed. Let's talk about the new price of safety. I think we all remember the tragic collapse of Champlain Towers south in Surfside. It was a true watershed moment. It forced a complete rewiring of Florida's entire approach to condo safety, basically shifting the industry from a pretty hands-off environment to one that is now highly regulated and, frankly, much more proactive. And this slide just lays out the change so clearly. Before Surfside, owners could just vote to waive funding for reserves, to keep their monthly fees low. Well, now, that option is gone. Buildings face mandatory structural inspections, and funding the reserves for those critical repairs, it can't be waived anymore. No more loopholes, end of story. And all of this brings us to a really tough question for every single condo owner and potential owner in the state. Because this new mandate, while absolutely essential for safety, it comes with a very real and sometimes a very, very high cost. Just look at this number. In one Miami building, owners were suddenly hit with a special assessment that worked out to $175,000 per unit. Now, okay, that's an extreme case, for sure. But it shows you the potential shock of having to catch up on years of deferred maintenance to meet these new safety laws.
These intense financial pressures on homeowners, they're not just happening in a vacuum. They are making huge waves up in the state capitol, where lawmakers are grappling with 2 of the biggest wallet issues for Floridans: taxes and insurance.
With costs rising everywhere, property tax relief has shot right to the top of the agenda for the 2026 legislative session. The debate really isn't about if they should provide relief, it's all about how to deliver it in a way that actually makes a difference.
And here's the thing to understand. They're not talking about small tweaks here. These are potential constitutional amendments that we, the voters, would get to decide on. The ideas range from totally eliminating certain property taxes to creating huge new exemptions for seniors or for people who have homeowners insurance. Any one of these could dramatically change your tax bill.
Okay, now let's zoom out to the widest lens possible, because it's not just Tallahassee. Big decisions made in Washington, D.C. are also set to have a direct impact on your bottom line, especially if you're a high net worth Floridian. A sweeping new federal law, passed in 2025, is permanently shaking up the landscape for both income tax deductions and estate planning. This creates a whole new set of strategies for managing wealth. And again, this is especially true for high net worth folks.
First up, this is a big win for anyone who itemizes their deductions. The cap on deducting your state and local taxes, what's known as the SALT deduction, has quadrupled. It jumped from $10,000 all the way to $40,000. And even though Florida has no state income tax, our property taxes are high enough that this could mean serious relief for a lot of homeowners.
And second, this law permanently changes the game for wealth transfer. The federal estate and gifts tax exemption is now set at $15 million per person. So for a married couple, that means you can shield a full $30 million from federal taxes. That is a massive opportunity for estate planning.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, right? From your front door to Tallahassee and all the way to Washington. So what does this all boil down to for you in 2026? Let's distill it down to the key takeaways.
This right here is your essential snapshot for 2026. On one hand, you've got this clear opportunity for buyers, thanks to lower rates and programs like Hometown Heroes. But on the other hand, there's this new era of responsibility and potential cost for condo owners. And then, layered on top of all that, you have state policy on taxes that's totally in flux, and major federal tax changes that could benefit a lot of people. These are the 4 key forces you really need to get your head around.
So look, from the moment you sign a mortgage to how you plan your estate, the entire financial playbook for Florida homeowners is being rewritten right now. The game is different, so the only question left is, are you ready to play?